Hello, this is Kyle. Now, I've always taken the stance that a small-scale, character-driven story is often more powerful than an epic tale about the end of the universe or something like that. But that doesn't mean that the latter can't be just as effective if it's well executed. Logopolis is a perfect example. As soon as the first episode starts, there are immediately stakes. Following on from the Keeper of Traken, the Master is still at large, and we know that he must be a legitimate threat, because the Doctor does the unthinkable. He decides to repair the chameleon circuit. Points for him actually having a motivation for it this time, unlike Attack of the Cybermen, where, as I remember, he just decides to fix it on a whim. To mend the chameleon circuit, the Doctor has to measure a police box on Earth. We then cut to Tegan and her Auntie Vanessa. Now, from her first few scenes, I can understand why some might find Tegan annoying, and a lot of your enjoyment of this story may well depend on how much you love or hate Tegan, and Adric for that matter. Personally, I don't find Adric particularly annoying, and Tegan, I can tolerate her. From these scenes we learn that Tegan is a bit of a loudmouth, she's Australian, and, well, I guess it shows that she likes to be independent and doesn't give up easily. One thing that is established, which becomes crucial later, is her relationship with her aunt. So the Doctor materialises his TARDIS around a real Earth police box, unaware that the Master has already materialised his TARDIS around the same police box. Let's talk about the Master for a moment. He always seems to be one step ahead of everyone else in this story, and because we don't see him until more than halfway in, it feels like he's one step ahead of the audience as well. The recurring TARDISes don't make a lot of sense. The Doctor and Adric start off in their own TARDIS, then enter another TARDIS, and then another. We then see the Master's TARDIS dematerialise from the original console room, supposedly with the Doctor and Adric in it, but the Doctor then goes through another door and somehow comes out the back of his own TARDIS on Earth. The idea is still creepy and effective though, and you could always put it down to dimensional anomalies or something like that. Shortly afterwards, we get the infamous scene which very nearly derails this whole serial. The Doctor decides it's going to be a great idea to materialise his TARDIS underwater, open the doors and flush the Master out. Yes, that is a legitimate part of the plot. I'm not even going to go into everything wrong with this concept. It might have worked in a so bad it's good story, but it does not belong with the serious scientific tone of Logopolis. Fortunately, once we actually get to Logopolis, things really pick up, and this is where it ascends from being an okay story to a very good story. The Doctor discovers that Tegan has inadvertently stowed away on board the TARDIS. Meanwhile, Nyssa from the previous story has been transported from Traken to Logopolis by the Watcher. Now, even if you've never seen Logopolis, the chances are you will have probably seen the ending, in which case you'll know who the Watcher is. But having the Watcher there in the background, silently, the whole time, with that eerie music playing, creates this unsettling atmosphere. You know that, or you feel that something big is about to happen, or that something's not right. The story takes what for me is a very dark turn when the Doctor has to tell Tegan that the Master has killed her Auntie Vanessa, and the Master, of course, is also responsible for the death of Nyssa's father, whose body he then takes over, and in fact uses to trick Nyssa and gain control over her. There is something horribly real about all of this. The Master will murder your friends and family, and to him it is all just a game because he is evil and very dangerous. Lesson for Moffat: that is how you make a villain into a legitimate threat. Just how dangerous he is becomes clear when he interrupts the Logopolitan's calculations and unwittingly causes a portion of the universe to be destroyed by entropy. That's right, Logopolis has the highest death toll of any episode of Doctor Who, and there's going to be no rebooting the universe like in the Big Bang. This is permanent damage. The fact that the scenery is constantly crumbling around the characters makes it feel apocalyptic. But then comes the most powerful scene in the entire story. So the Watcher takes Adric and Nyssa in the TARDIS outside of the universe itself, where Nyssa sees that Traken, her home planet, no longer exists. An entire planet that we've seen and got to know the inhabitants of has vanished, just like that. It means something to the audience, it means something to the characters, and when we see this, and know that this is happening all over the universe, it means something. This is how you do epic right. So anyway, the Doctor and the Master devise a solution which involves running a program from the Faros Project on Earth. The Master, being the Master, decides to use this as an opportunity to blackmail the entire universe. The Doctor manages to stop him, but in doing so falls from the telescope, fatally wounding him. Oh yeah, this is Tom Baker's Regeneration story, which you might almost have forgotten with everything else going on, although, as I mentioned, having the Watcher in the background is a constant reminder if you've already seen the Regeneration. It's interesting that they didn't choose to go down the end of time route and have the Doctor sacrifice himself just to save a friend or something, but in a way I find it fitting that Tom Baker's Doctor died saving the universe. So, in Logopolis there are a few missteps. I mean, materialising the TARDIS underwater to flush the Master out. Yeah, that makes sense. But overall, this story really blew me away and was a satisfying conclusion to the Fourth Doctor's run. I give it 4.5 stars out of 5. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, check out my website and my Facebook page, and I'll see you next time.